Alright guys, today we're here with
Eric and MSMHS
from
Marine Science Man High School out here in Groton, Connecticut.
Alright, so today we're going to go around the store just to learn a little bit about what, well not store, I shouldn't say store.
High school,
and learn a little bit about what goes on in this classroom. We did a quick walkthrough and this is amazing. More schools should definitely have a program like this, so we want you guys just to see what it is that they do and get an idea of what's happening here.
Awesome.
So,
yeah, welcome. I was going to say welcome real quick, right? We're in Groton, Connecticut, out here near the Rhode Island border. The school is 12 years old. I'm one of the founding teachers. I've been here since day one. Myself and Mike Guyett, the other aquaculture teacher, we are in charge of running this facility. We're about 20,000 gallons when we're full. We do everything from food fish, freshwater aquaculture, saltwater aquaculture, coral, plants, a little bit of everything. So you'll see some of that today as you're walking around.
Beautiful. So we're going to start here with, this is their main display, correct?
Yes.
How many gallons is this?
Yeah, there's a 220 gallon Crystal Dynamics main display. It's a mixed reef. About 95% of the corals in here were raised from frag, all started here at the school from our lineage. Our students take care of this tank, so they'll have about a group of 5 or 6 students who will be responsible for maintaining water quality, cleaning the glass, changing skimmers and socks, fragging corals, feeding the fish, a little bit of everything. So they come in every day and they will maintain this and make sure it looks as stellar as it is. And then myself and the other teacher, we kind of oversee the students, help them get the skills and make sure that everything that's going on is all hunky-dory.
Beautiful.
So what age bracket are we talking about with students? Freshmen, sophomores?
Yeah, once they get to this tank, they're probably usually junior or senior, so we're talking about 16 to 18-year-olds. They come in every day and they'll do a small water change, or they'll clean the glass, or they'll change the skimmer. It's like, oh, that's all we did. I'm like, you don't realize how hard that is for some people to do on a daily basis. So the skills we're giving them are ones that not only would transfer to maybe a marine science industry job, but also keeping alive another living animal, having responsibilities, working as a team, collaborating, communicating with people. All of those necessary skills we think is important for them to graduate with.
So we know that most of the school systems focus on a STEM-based programming.
Yep.
How do you think this works or fits in with the STEM-based academic program?
I think the amazing thing about a fish tank is that, especially a reef tank, is that it is STEM, right? No matter what science, you want biology, I'll give you biology. You want chemistry, you want physics, you want engineering, you name it, and we can find a science lesson that can be done here in this tank. So we see ourselves more as a support program where, yeah, you might go and take your biology class, and then you come in here and you see an actual bio landscape, right? Or you want to learn about chemistry and you're like, why do I need to know about pH? I'm going to tell you why you need to know about pH, because if you're really upset that coral dies, your pH was off, this is what it actually means. This is how you change it. This is how you buffer it. These are the things that could affect it. So this is STEM.
That's awesome. I think you just touched on something really important, because so that means that you guys collaborate with other classes.
Yes.
So as you mentioned, biology and chemistry. So I know teachers have asked me to bring seaweed and things from my tank so that they can use it in their class or through microscopes and things like that. So do you guys have teachers bringing ever had any teachers bring their entire class?
Oh yeah, all the time. We had one teacher, he was teaching freshmen about invasive species, ecological landscapes. He's like, let's go down and see what's going on in the lab, right? He came down and wanted to look at what was going on. We had people doing, behavior studies. They come down, we do feeding behaviors. Why is this sohal tank swimming all over the tank? What is he doing? Where this damselfish is actually hiding back? What's going on? We look at the behavior side of it. I had a teacher teaching about ocean acidification. So we gave her some old coral skeleton that died, and they took them and put them in some vinegar and said, what happens when this decomposes? How does that change the water landscape, right? So they use it to teach the normal lessons we get in high school, but the kids have the base knowledge of I know why this is important.
It's more practical.
Absolutely. How many times do we sit in the class and go, why the heck do I need to know how to find the volume of this? Exactly. Well, if you want to know water volume and make sure you're dosing correctly, this is how you do it, right? So even geometry classes will tie in with.
So speaking of dosing, what do you guys dose on this system?
Yes, we try to keep it as simple as possible. We dose calc water from the top off. So we have an automatic top off here with just fresh RO water and then calc washer going in to help with our calcium load. And then we really like the Reef Trace and Reef Plus from CChem. David Lee's a good friend of ours. He lives actually right in the corner, which is kind of funny. So we always like their products and we dose those in. And other than that, we really don't touch it. We like to kind of leave it as simple as possible and let the corals just kind of talk to us and work the best possible. We feed a lot. Frozen, nori, pellets, a little bit of everything, so that everything can eat. The more the fish eat, the more waste is produced. The more produced, then the more happy the corals will be.
That's a common thing that we talk about, feeding your fish, and in the side effect of that, which not a side effect, but a positive effect of that is you're feeding the corals.
Yep.
And we're told that certain type of corals like SPS, the water extremely clean. So many a times, like the last episode, we were talking about protein skimmer and sons and things like that, where we're pulling all these things out of might be pulling too much nutrients out of our water. But you're saying feed a tank, feed the fish, and you feed the corals.
Well, the hard thing too is like you have to understand, like we are. Although it's a beautiful tank and display, it's also a factory, right? So we're trying to grow corals. We have a very high coral load in here, so they're pulling stuff out of the water faster than maybe a normal display tank might, right? So like the tank we're going to see in a little bit, we're nutrient deficient all the time. I can't feed enough in that tank because the amount of fish compared to coral is just not even close.
So you don't
Where
do
most
any,
people have so many more fish than they would coral. But their corals are so much smaller than they would,
so you don't do anything like what is it that I fuel or anything like that? Nothing. This is it. You dose nothing else. You don't
acids or anything, trace elements.
Really?
Wow.
This is
awesome.
a beautiful system for not dosing anything. I dose so many things. I even have a little refrigerator where I dose into my system elements that I thought I needed, but apparently I don't.
I mean, again, like every tank is obviously going to be different, right? And what you get is different. So, but we find that if we can keep it simple, and the corals are going to grow. Do they have maybe the brightest colors that you would see on some amazing website? Maybe, maybe not. But the animals are beautiful and they're growing, and we see that, and that to us is a sign like, hey, back off and let it work.
And how old is this?
2 years. About 2 years old.
2 years. And lights are.
These are reef bright lights with some Kessels just to kind of get some blues in there and some lumen bars on them. There's a sump with a skimmer, some sock filters, and a little refugium that goes on at night. And then there's a 50 slack tied to it, which is just the frags from this and some Zoes that kind of get in. We like to frag from this tank and then go to our main prop system, but we don't want to go right from this tank on halides to LEDs. So they come from this tank to the 50, same water, different lights, and then they go to the prop system, same lights, different water. So it's not so much of a change. Some people take stuff out of one tank and put another, and then it browns out. Like, what happened? You changed everything about that coral's environment, so no duh, it's not happy with you. So we try to minimize the transfer.
This is tied in.
Yeah, these are looped in. Yep.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, this is looped in.
Wow. So same water. The only thing that changes over here
It's
is
they went from a halide to an LED.
yeah. So
Yep.
the light and the flow changes a little bit.
A little bit, yep.
Yeah. Oh,
And then
wow.
as things settle out here, then they move over to the main propagation system, or they stay in here sometimes, depending on what they need.
Gotcha. And this is beautiful.
Thank you.
So if we take a left over here, we see we have a big system over here.
What's going
Yeah,
on with these things?
we're definitely known for our coral. A lot of people maybe watching know us about selling coral, but we do other aquaculture as well. Aquaculture has been around for centuries. So these are large-scale food fish. In this tank we have barramundi, in the other tank we have rainbow trout right now, and those will get raised up for food purposes. So they will, when they reach market size, get harvested, filleted, processed, and then you can go to a local store in Old Saybrook and purchase farm-raised, locally grown here in Grand Connecticut food for your plate. Yeah, and all the funds that we raise from everything that we sell goes right back into the program. So it goes to buy new batches of fish, food, tanks, send kids on trips, go to scholarships, things like that.
And I can tell you, they look very big and tasty already.
No fishing poles.
Put your finger in there. I'm all right. That's it out. Now this is really, really good because you're not just doing salt water. You're not just doing corals. so we're doing things with the sustainability portion of this is really, really big because that's a lot of something that I push a lot of my classes trying to get students to understand about being self-sufficient and growing our own food and raising our own animals, things like that.
It's funny, people hear aquaculture and based on their education or their background, they have mixed feelings about it, right? They think right away, oh my God, they're dyeing the salmon and putting, food coloring in the salmon, that's going on my plate,
Yep.
right? And then they're going, oh, but it's really great when it's for saltwater tanks. Or it's really, aquaculture, there's obviously good and bad, but we're trying to teach kids this is how you do it sustainably. This is where it serves a purpose. This is where people might have gone wrong in history of trying to push the envelope a little bit too much. This is what we can do to help the environment, and this is what could hurt the environment if we do it the wrong way. We don't think commercial fishing is bad or wild caught animals are bad, but there's got to be limits, right? There's got to be knowledge in education, otherwise people are going to make bad choices. So that's what we try to teach here. Every kid doesn't need to be an aquaculture advocate, but they need to know why it's important and what it does.
Do you guys have any collaboration with any other fish farms or anything like that?
Yeah, unfortunately there's not a ton of inland fish farms in Connecticut or in the US even that. They're mostly overseas. But we try to partner with as many universities, other high schools, industries as possible to let them know what we're doing.
These fish look very healthy.
Yeah, they're cool.
They're very big and healthy. That'll be on somebody's plate pretty soon. How often do you guys rotate them?
Depends on the animal, right? So these guys take about 2.5 years to get to market size, so they'll be here for a little bit longer, right? But it's really important for the kids to be able to see this fish grow from, a couple inches as a fingerling all the way up to 2.5, 3 foot fish.
So the intent for these pools, and as you guys, I can, I know we're going to catch you on video, but how many tanks
we have 8 of these large tanks, but they're linked together. So these two are the same. It creates about one 1,500 gallon system.
Wow.
So we can grow any fish that we want in the terms of we can do cold water, warm water, salt, or fresh. We're only limited based on size of the system. So no bluefin tuna, no marlin, things like that. But we can grow fish up to about 2.5, 3 pounds, maybe 2.5, 3 feet maybe. Based on how they grow in the system.
So the intent is it for productivity or for learning purposes for these fish? You guys do this just for students to see the development and growth and the rearing, the ability to do it, or are you also doing it for this case you can grow these development?
I think our number one mission is always education, right? Is teaching kids what to do, how to do it, and why. But I'm also not about growing an animal just to kill it for a learning purpose at the end. Right, so although I'm not growing these and trying to push them out as fast as possible for a profit, students need to understand there is a way to make money here, and there are places in the world that need to grow fish in order to have fresh food. And if they don't do it, then they won't be eating anything that's healthy. So it is twofold. So I wouldn't say that profit in business is our number one push, but we want to teach kids how to run a good business. We started a couple of years ago selling corals. I'm very transparent to kids. This is how much we make. This is how much it costs us to run. This is how much we sell for. This is how you would run a business if you wanted to go this route. They need to know that. Yep. But I'm not going to cry in bed if someone dies and they make $50 on that sale.
And I do remember when you guys were at Park Farmers selling things, and the face on the students when you walk up and ask them about a coral or say, hey, can I have this one or whatever, their face lights up when they're sitting there, and because some of the corals initially weren't the most prized, a lot of people may walk by. And, being a teacher myself, me and Ross, we used to stop and talk to them and get what you guys have and support them. And their face literally lights up okay, I got it. Which one do you want? And they feel really, really good and feel so accomplished about it. How has, over the years, how's that grown with the students? Do you see students that have graduated, introducing other students, or how is that?
Well, so one thing I'll say first is I never make a decision in a vacuum. I always try to include as many people, students, staff as possible. Right? So could I stock this with what I wanted and my favorite animals? Absolutely. But I let the kids help with that. We don't always go with their idea for a lot of reasons, but they get an opportunity to speak their minds.
Because I'm sure if you did, there'll be a shark in here.
Oh my God, everybody wants a shark. We're not getting Shark Tank, sorry.
I want a shark.
It's our mascot, we're not getting a shark. It's hey, this is what we want to do. What do you guys think? Why, right? And then the kids are invested, we got this because, and they know the reason why I can explain it, right? So they are invested, and when they come in here, they police each other. A kid comes in, and he's chewing gum in here, or he's eating something we don't eat in the lab normally, right? They know, like, hey, we don't do that in here. This is for live animals, right? And they walk by, they police each other, and they're engaged, and they're enthusiastic about it, which is great. We have kids now come back and work for us. So we have one student who graduated in aquaculture. He works now at OSA, Ocean State Aquatics, in Rhode Island, and he comes back and he interns for us twice a week and works in here.
I like that.
We have other kids that we've given thousands of dollars of scholarships to go, and they're getting their degrees right now in marine bio, aquaculture, environmental policy, things like that. That's really cool. You know, we sent one kid to MACNA. It's like, hey, here's $1,000. Like, please go experience this. We can do that when we have stuff like this, you know.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I see on the other side over here we have some plants.
Yeah, let's go over there.
And let's see what's going on this side here. The plants all look great. I must say, the corals look amazing, and the plants all look great.
They're alive.
So, light me up on
That's
the
a
comments
win.
on that, right? This is aquaponics. You can climb it if you want. Basically, the idea here is we're using waste from the fish. So down here at the end, this dark blue tank has koi fish in it. And some random goldfish that got thrown in. The animals provide waste for growth of terrestrial plants. So basically, the water gets pumped up through these grow beds. In the grow beds, in a few weeks, we'll have a bunch of seedlings propagated, and then the kids will grow things like lettuce, kale, chive, basil, strawberries, radishes, terrestrial plants off the waste of the animals. And then the grow beds act as a biofilter, removes all the nitrogen, just like a live rock would in your tank, removes all the nitrogen, and then the plants take up the nitrate, and then that goes right back in the system. So nitrogen cycle in chemistry or environmental science, this is nitrogen cycle, right? So the kids not only know what it means, they can draw it, they can actually do it and see, hey, where does it actually happen? Oh, this is where everything happens.
So these over here are...
This is a grow media, so this is like a clay-based product. It's made to like hold water and moisture. Some terrestrial plants can't take as much water, so they'll get like root rot. So if you overwater your plants, they'll die. So basically what this does is it minimizes the amount of water that needs to be in here, and then this will like just look glazed, and then underneath when it's running, there'll be water in here, and the roots will deep down, and then grow from this.
So the system goes from the koi
Up to the top of the grow beds over here by Sheldon, and then down the grow beds, gravity flow, and returns back to the fish. So it's one consistent.
I love it.
This is where people understand aquaculture. Like, oh, fish poop, plants need manure, plants clean water for fish. Cool, I got that. And then like, it's like things like that's for them. So
Even though the plants don't look that great, I still love it.
it'll look so much better. Like 3 months you come back and it'll look like walking to Lowe's or something like that.
I love the concept. And it's not overly complicated.
No.
The fact that
This design, like we were talking about before, this was entirely built, designed by students.
Wow.
So they designed it. They did all the plumbing, all of the not electrical, but all of the construction, found the pieces, wired it out, and everything. We built it together as a class. And then in a year or two, when it needs to be revamped, the next class will come in and go, okay, do we totally need to redo it, or can we just make some changes? What works, what doesn't? And then they come back 4 years later, like, oh, that was our aquaponics, and you destroyed it, or oh, we still did it, we did it. Yeah.
This I like. I like the concept of it.
So
Yeah.
the great thing is
These
because
are Chinese light boxes.
this room has multiple functions.
Yes.
Right?
There are
So-
constantly multiple classes happening at the same time here.
Because it's like it's a factory. You can say it's like a factory. It's a farm.
It's an aquarium.
It's an aquarium.
Yep.
You have aquaponics going on
Yep.
here. You have thriving going on here. You have a classroom. You have desks
Yep.
here with a smart board.
Yep.
You guys have a crack station.
Yep.
You guys have so much going on in here. You guys have filtration system that you're working on. That you guys are using. And you guys follow lab rules.
Yep.
You guys definitely follow lab
Yeah,
rules.
it has to be a little bit different, right? But like no glass, there's no glass in here, right? We don't want glass to fall into our tank, so we don't use glass beakers. We use all plastic, right? chemicals, only in certain areas, only gloves, only eye protection, right? We don't do food in the lab. Drinks have to be closed or put away when they're not being used. So we try to be as careful as possible. Could mistakes happen? Absolutely. Right? That's life, and that's working with teenagers. But we do as many things possible to train the students on the right way to do it, how to be safe. Right? I don't want anybody to get hurt. And thankfully, knock on wood, we've never had any serious injuries and things. Obviously, people have had allergies to certain corals, or if they're putting their hands in the tank and stuff like that. So, but we try to be as careful as possible.
You guys have
floor drains.
here.
Yeah.
You guys ever had any big spills?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I've left the hose on, come back like 8 hours later, like all drained. I flooded my co-teacher's classroom one year by accident. Sorry. Yeah.
The great thing is you guys are on the first floor.
Yes.
So there's nothing below you guys.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's drains that go the entire lab. So it's always wet in here. There's always just squeegees everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Part of a wet lab.
we always tell people that when we go into stores, we don't really focus on how amazing the floor is.
Right.
That just-
It always looks clean out. Somebody's always mopping or pushing
Yeah,
a
we don't
squeegee or
focus
something.
on that. Like,
Yeah, let's
it's
go.
always wet.
Yeah.
So,
So I see you have a lot of empty systems. Yep. What's the plan with the empty?
Yeah, a couple things. One, we like to get the students involved and choose the next species. So we never want to, like I said, make a decision in a vacuum. So we let them kind of figure out what species would make sense for us to bring in and why. And then two, sometimes we have trouble bringing in species. There's only so much finfish aquaculture going on in the U.S., so we are limited on where we can get animals from, how we get them in, quantities. Is there a farm that will sell to us? You can't just go out into the ocean, catch a bunch of stripers, and then bring them into a tank. That's not allowed. So we have to be really careful. We follow a lot of rules and regulators about what we have here, why we have it, what we're doing with it. So
And that's why I don't work in a school.
Yeah, we're overseen
I'll just go
by,
catch it and throw it in my tank.
yeah, FDA, DEP, Bureau of Aquaculture, Consumer Protection. So at any point, somebody can come in and go, "What are you doing with this,
What are
and
you
why?"
doing? Yeah.
So we always, as much as I would love to have every tank filled with like the most exotic species, that's not really illegal. So we gotta be careful.
And I
what we're
mean,
doing.
with all these systems, what do you guys have running this? This is a lot of water,
It's
a
a lot of work,
lot of.
yes.
What do you guys? Where does it go? Where does it start? You guys have like a UV filter. Where does all that?
I can show you if you
there's
want
some
where the-
big fish over there, and I
Yeah,
know
come on back here.
big fish,
These
just
are
like
big
big
waves.
dogs, have big poop. So it has to go somewhere, okay?
Yeah.
So where does all that go?
Where's all the? I'll go in there. So this is the filtration room for the main large systems. So this is something you would see in a large-scale aquaculture facility. Probably, small to medium scale. These would be a lot bigger in a big system. But these are bead filters, so this does your solid filtration, gets rid of the fish poop and waste. 48-inch UV filters. The water goes through the wall and goes to a heat exchanger, gets heated or chilled. It goes into a biofilter and then gets pumped back to the tank. It takes about 250 feet to get from the tank through all the filtration and then back. So there's a lot of things running.
What are
And
these? What did you say?
It's a bead filter. It's like a sand filter on a pool.
Okay, yeah,
Same
yeah, yeah.
idea.
Okay, gotcha,
Yep.
okay.
The beads just provide a little biofiltration because the bacteria can grow in them as well.
This is the UV I want right here.
UV
This
sterilite.
is
Right,
what
that's
I
a
want.
big one. Yeah, not at $300 a bulb. You don't want
Oh,
this.
yeah.
Every 9 months.
So at the beginning of the program,
Yep.
were these installed prior or they were?
I was hired on as they were finishing the construction project back in 2011. So they hired a company called Aquatic Habitats, which got bought out by Pentair, to come in, design, and build. And they built it, and then I was trained on it, and then they wanted to give me the keys and said, "Here you go, figure it all out." And it's changed a lot over the last 12 years, but we're really proud of that. So
Well, I mean, it's working because from what I see out there, this is definitely working. Because, like I said, they have some really big fish
Yep.
over there, and big fish have big waste, so these things are definitely
they
working.
do. It's not always the nicest smelling place here, so the kids learn to live with that, right?
There you
It's the
go.
dirty part of the hobby.
Yeah.
In terms of maintaining these, do the
Yep.
company come back or do you?
No, that's me. So as an aquaculturist and a tank runner, you learn plumbing, electrical, everything really, really quickly. So if it's over my head, then we have contractors that we can call. But basically, the contract with this company was like a 1 or 2 year, and then was up. So after that, it was basically on us. So any plumbing changes have been myself, or we contract that out.
So that's what, like what you mentioned earlier, wearing those many hats.
Yes.
Where, not just a teacher.
No.
You're a
Plumber, general contractor. I've built many of the systems that you see, the stands that they're on. I built them, or my partner. It's like you build what you need, you know.
Exactly. Plant farmer, fish farmer.
Absolutely.
Right. All right. Wow.
Father, husband, all the friend, all the
Whoa.
These are some freshwater tanks. We had a class specifically on plant sustainability and ecological sustainability. So these are some of the leftovers because they were doing so well. But these are live plant terrariums, so kids could either go full aquatic or semi-aquatic. And then they got to choose the plants, the layout, the design. This one originally was supposed to be Dagobah, so there's like an X-Wing in there. He had a little fog machine going. Yeah. One kid did Mario and made had little Mario characters. Nice. We have some freshwater tanks over here, again, all with live plants and angels, sequoia angels, and some other plants, some other animals in there. Not every kid wants to be a saltwater aquarist, so we like to have a little bit of everything and show all aspects of how to take care of the tank and how to maintain it.
In terms of
These are
interest,
beautiful.
do you see more students having interest in the freshwater over the saltwater?
It changes, I think, year to year.
Yeah.
Some kids grew up with tanks and always had them, so they
Yeah.
come in, they have their preconceived notions. Others are attracted to the colors of the corals.
Yeah.
Others have memories of winning a goldfish at a carnival when they were 6, and they want to just do freshwater tanks. So it just changes as we go through.
Yeah. Right. Because
I'm loving this.
We
This
notice
is-
a lot of stores do that, where
They have some
they're
beautiful angels.
incorporating a lot of fresh water now,
Yep.
and we support it because we want to be as diverse as
Absolutely.
possible. Because you're about sales as well, and not
I think-
everyone can afford the salt water.
I think freshwater tanks can be beautiful, right? You know, people think of freshwater originally like, oh, just goldfish and, some shiny pebbles, but you can make really beautiful freshwater tanks. Just like you can make ugly saltwater tanks and beautiful saltwater tanks, you can make the same with these.
Yeah, because a lot of people, I started out fresh, then a little brackish, and then moved all the way to salt. And I love my fresh waters, especially aggressive cichlids are very aggressive, which I love, like Pacu, and Jack Dempsey, and
Red Devil,
Red Devils,
Terrors,
and stuff.
Yep.
That's where I started. Oscars, which
Yep.
was my favorite. Just to watch them eat.
Yep.
You hear that clap in their mouth when they grab a fish.
Not yet.
They're illegal now, but at that time I had snake.
Everybody had them,
And then they became illegal. But I mean, freshwater, you can definitely have amazing freshwater tanks. And as we can see here, because these are amazing. See, my wife would like something like this.
Yep.
With the plants popping up and all that stuff, she would like to see
That's
that.
really nice.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll head over to this is coral.
Corals. We're gonna see some more
That's
corals.
what you want to see, right? That's
Exactly. You guys know that's what.
I have a lens if you want. You want a lens?
Yes, please.
Alright, we're gonna start on this side. We'll start. So, it's a whole system. Where is the first? Which one is the first?
This tank gun is where everything originates.
So this was the first.
This is the first one, yeah. There you go.
I got 3 cameras, so I'm trying to figure out which one is going to use.
Oh yeah, it's gonna flip. Alright.
Alright, we're good.
So this is kind of the main system. We actually started with this. These are old oyster tanks. And we just had them laying around. So like before we were showing you what happens in aquaculture when you have $1 million budget, this is when you're on a budget.
wow.
So these are just old fiberglass, fish holder tanks. And we just drilled some holes in it. And this tank is kind of where everything starts. The pump pulls from here, the apex probes are in here, there's a trident in here, the large skimmer are top-offs dosing here as well. It is kind of the lowest level. And then the tank pumps up. The pump goes up to the top on the left and the right, and then it flows back down through gravity back here. Every tank can be shut off and stopped, so if we need to work on a tank, we can just turn the valve and work on a tank solely, and it doesn't affect everything else. So if we need to work on something, change a rack out, get underneath, whatever, we're not on a time cruncher to turn all the corals over super fast.
So when I'm ready for my shark, this is where I put
Yeah, you need a lot more space than that. This system's about 650 gallons, all included when you count all 5 tanks. And we're thinking about maybe expanding on, but As you can see, we have a little bit of everything here: SPS,
I'm loving
Softies,
these.
LPS. Those are the credit bounds, Justin Grable from New London. Yeah, gave us one of those a lot of years ago. They're beautiful, such bright colors.
Yeah, those are beautiful. I'm loving this system. This is where
It's
my
funny,
heart
like,
is.
these two tanks like do nothing. So can I get into there?
Yeah.
So like this.
Wow.
Look at bird's nest.
Bird's nest.
Right? But it's one that's like people don't really like it that much. It's like $10. It's kind of cheap, but it's beautiful. And like you can see, like that was the original.
That's
That
where
was-
it all started.
That's where it all started, right? It just grew out, and the bottom doesn't look super happy. But that's what happens with coral, right?
The light.
The light, right?
Yep.
And it starts shading things out, and it just sits in here. And you don't like we don't look at this tank that often. And it's like, oh my god, that thing's like 10 inches across. Like that's amazing.
Wow.
So it goes from this tank.
It goes basically both ways.
Oh, it goes both
Yep.
ways. Okay.
So this tank over here on your right,
And that one comes from this one.
so the pump comes up to here,
Oh, okay.
and then it flows down. So highest tank to the next level, right? Like a waterfall.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
So we had a lot of corals that needed a little bit less flow than some of our others. So we put this tank in recently. This is mainly chalices, Euphilia, and Goniopora. So you can see we have some torches on the back wall there, plenty of Euphilia, some different gonies that we've had, and some beautiful chalices, some rainbows, some jelly beans, things like that. This dragon soul we've had in production for about 4 years now. So it started from we bought one frag at Frag Farmers 4 years ago, and since then I've probably had 20, 30, 40 heads that have fragged and sold and moved on. A lot of times Euphilia now, they come in from overseas and they go to the store or they get from the wholesaler and then they die within a month.
die.
You're like, what
Oh, yeah.
happened? That stress, that travel, like it just totally killed it. So if we can start to figure out ways to aquaculture them more efficiently and quicker, then the chance of survival going into your tank is going to make such for a better transition.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I've also had that issue where I've bought and I put them in and all of a sudden brown jelly.
Yep.
And
It's not the
I-
problem with the store. It's not the store's fault. But
Yeah,
it's
no.
like the stress of that
definitely.
animal,
They stress.
right?
And I don't. No one really knows about brown jelly or how to get rid of it, how to fix it. But
Take the coral out of your tank and hope it doesn't get anything else,
exactly.
right?
I really think that's awesome. People are like, cut that head off. I just
No.
get rid of the
Get
whole
rid
thing.
of it. It's not worth it.
Dip it in peroxide.
Yeah.
Dip it in all kinds
Yeah,
of.
take
I'm
this
like,
mix,
nope.
take that mix, and
I even have a friend who did Coca-Cola and something. He claims it works. I don't trust it. But I have also had
The
that.
lights you have on here, because I see you have leaf breeders on here.
Yeah.
How do you see the leaf breeders working in comparison to
We love rebreathers. I mean, every light is going to be great for a certain tank and stuff like that, but rebreathers, which is Logan, is at Rhode Island right now. He just has amazing products. And their customer service is like probably the best in the industry, I think. Like, the problem,
definitely.
you call them and it's like, there's something there, or it's a fix, or a fresh product, or whatever. Like, no, like, oh, what'd you do? It's like, oh, no problem, we'll fix it. And like, that, like, 10 times out of 10 is just an amazing thing. So,
We would definitely argue
Hands
with
down,
anyone that says
Logan
that
has
it's
the
different.
best customer
Yeah.
service you can.
Absolutely.
He has
I agree
amazing
with that
customer
on.
service.
yeah, and are there lights that have like a little bit different features? Like maybe, but for that, so we like keep consistency. So you see reef breeders on all of these tanks, except for the 1T5 structure. But everything else is reef breeder lights and reef breeder power heads. Hoping to get my hands on one of the new ones that he has, that new Gen 3 that's coming out. See if he can kind of hook us up with that and grow it. But you can see, obviously, it's doing some beautiful things here. This is our main frag tank of the system, still tied in, but this is where most of our corals are that we kind of grow and sell. It's a lot of SPS. So SPS, even though they may be looked at as harder to grow, are easier for our students to manage. We don't have to worry about saws. We don't have to worry about palitoxins. These are all things that I have 16, 17-year-old kids. I don't want anybody getting hurt. And if I give them a green slimer and they break it into 20 pieces, what's the worst that could happen, right? They get slime on their hands. So that's something that we do a lot of. But there's also some encrusters in here and some gonies, some alves, some nems, a little bit of everything that you see.
I know that one of the things that is an issue in the classroom are students just being immature or horsing around a bit.
Yep.
Do you find students to be a little more serious when they come in here? when they know that they're dealing with living creatures?
It's definitely a learning experience,
Yeah.
right? Just as with any teenager. But I think what's important to them is that we model for them like how we're supposed to act,
Yes.
right? I'm here every day. Mike is here every single day. We're 365 employees. They understand that, and they see us working our butts off. And I'm honest with them, like, hey, if this dies, like that's my livelihood. I'm here more hours than I'm home mostly, right?
Absolutely, like today.
You know, like
Yeah.
today. Like,
Yeah,
could I be home with
Sunday.
my kids right now? Absolutely. Animals got to eat. Like, I was here on Christmas. I was here on New Year's. I was here after my honeymoon. Like animals have to eat. So this is a job. And when they see me invested, they get invested.
Very nice.
Is every single kid that way? Not necessarily, but it's definitely something.
Nice. Yeah, sure.
Oh, definitely. This is I'm definitely loving this setup.
Yeah. There's that green slimer over there on the left. You can see that massive colony.
Yep.
We've had that almost since day one of doing corals. That was donated to us, and that is about 7 years old. We've had that strain of green slimer, that huge one, Aziz here, right? And that thing, we can't frag it enough. It's on a 6x6 bathroom tile, and I don't cut it right now because I don't have any room for more, but that thing has taken off and grows so much, and we can't say, we probably sold more green slimer than any other coral in this entire place.
So that was one of Shelton's first
Yeah.
piece he bought
Yeah.
from you guys at Frag Farmers several years ago.
Our first frag farmers, we had like 20 of this size, and we were
Yep.
selling for $20 a piece.
Yep.
Because we didn't know what was going on.
Exactly, yep.
And we sold like 5. I'm like, maybe we should raise our prices. We raised it to 30, sold 5 more. I was like, maybe we should raise it to 50. We sold 5 more. And I was like, whatever. We were so happy. And obviously this is more now, but you know, to be able to kind of like grow the corals and show the kids like, hey, this is the business side of it. This is how it works. Like that's a really cool aspect of it.
That's the only part of it my son likes. So
What?
my son is really not into fish, aquarium. He's more video games and,
Yep.
and whatever. But when I tell him like, oh, get a cup, I got to put this in because I got to ship it tomorrow. And then he's like, you sold that? And when I tell him the price, how much I sold it
Yep.
for, he's like, at one point he wanted a little tank. And I was like, you are not getting a tank because you're going to kill everything. And we're not doing that. So he does not have a tank because he only wanted it for monetary purposes. And we're not doing that.
This is probably the coral that most of the people know us for right now. This is Walt Disney. We have this strain's been with us for about 4.5 years now. These are some of our mother colonies that we cut, and then some frags here that we sell. We sell these to local stores. We go to shows. We sell to people coming in. This is a coral that people always want. You know, it's
Oh, yeah.
beautiful. It's a beautiful tenuous, and it grows great for us and really fast. We started with one piece 4 years ago that we bought, and it's taken off, which is great. These are Orange Passion.
Okay.
That's a really cool tenuous. This is Spathulata, so similar to like a Millipora. There's some other popular stuff in here.
There's a lot of popular stuff.
Cherry Bomb over here. Pink Lemonade, Tierra del Fuego, Flux Capacitor. I don't know. They have all these funny names, right?
Yeah,
everybody
yeah,
loves
yeah.
it. It's like, I don't know, beautiful green coral. I don't know.
Well, that's where most of us start in the hobby, brown
Right.
and green.
And there's nothing wrong with green. There's many different shades of green.
That is true because
some,
I'm looking at several right now.
Some people like to chase names. They want to have names in their tanks. There's nothing wrong with that, so they can show like, oh, I paid this much for the coral. Or, is the coral beautiful to you? And if so, who cares how much it is?
So
Right?
he
If
was,
the coral's $10.
he was talking about me because everyone knows I go for names.
We know. Tiger's blood.
I go for names. So he was
Unicorn
telling me
bag.
that.
Yeah.
Shelton will go for something for the looks. I will
Yeah,
go for the
I
name.
go with
I don't even care what it looks
I
like
do
as long as
value-
I get the name.
I do value things, you know, if they do carry a value, I
Yeah.
will ignore that, but I do love the looks too as well. Very important. Which
Absolutely.
one's your favorite though? Of all the corals in the system? That maybe you have it because, not, for whatever reason.
I really like this Echinata, this Hawkins Echinata. It's one that's been in around for a long time. It's just
Oh, yeah,
like
it's
a
old
super,
school.
super cool growth structure. Maybe not the most expensive, but like it almost looks like a feather or a leaf when it grows out. It looks good with lights on or lights off, which I really appreciate. If I need to have blue lights on and my glasses on all the time to appreciate the colors, then I don't know. I want to see something a little bit different. So I like something like that, I think.
So, I mean, what's the hardest part of this whole process for you? Before we go, what is the hardest, like, what do you
Of growing
think?
coral or just run the system?
Just,
or what do you mean?
just the whole thing. I mean, what do you find hardest
I think
throughout the whole
hardest,
journey?
The hardest thing is that you have to understand that you are taking an animal that lives 8,000 miles away or 6,000 miles away and trying to replicate its exact living, and you can't be perfect. And things are going to die sometimes for no reason at all. And that's okay. That's just the way nature is. And it's really hard sometimes to think, like, I did everything I could, and this coral still died, or this fish still died.
Yeah.
What happened? What did I do wrong? What do I need to change? And sometimes nothing is the answer. I think it's really hard to have that and also show the kids that too. Like, animals are going to live and die, and that's okay as long as you did everything that you could. You're trying to replicate it. Okay.
I think every school should have a program like this.
Yeah.
I'm trying to implement one in my school right now.
Yep.
Which we will be talking about. I'll stay in touch with you.
Yeah,
on that.
absolutely.
But, you know, environmentally, it's also very important,
Mm-hmm.
isn't it?
100%. You know, people say to us, like, oh, well, you know, if you took these animals from the Indo-Pacific and you put them here, like, how are you helping? Like, well, every coral I grow and sell is one less coral that somebody's got to take off the reef. Right? And can we grow every coral efficiently right now? No, we can't. But what has happened in Florida recently, if that has not taught us anything, is that we need more in, like, not just how do I grow a coral so the colors are cool, but how do I grow them so we can have this hobby going for years and years.
Why does it keep talking about me?
And not, you know, just until, like, oh, now I can't get torches anymore. Oh, you know.
I mean, so if someone wanted to come in and get corals, how do they get in touch with you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're on Facebook and Instagram, MSMHS Aquaculture. We are open to the public to come in by appointment, so you're more than welcome to reach out online, send us a message. It's myself or Mike or other teacher who will respond to you. We open up to the public every once in a while. We also go to local shows, so we'll be at Frag Farmers Market, other shows we might be at in the coming future, and you know, in kind of New England, and kind of bring our stuff and kind of show it off. We also wholesale to a lot of stores throughout New England, so if you're not from around here and you want your store to carry it, have them get in touch with us. We wholesale to stores in Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. I've had people reach out from Chicago, Florida, St. Louis. Everybody wants corals these days. So if your store is interested in wholesaling, just have them reach out to us. We'll be happy to hook them up.
So you mentioned you and Mike. Is there anyone else that, any other teachers?
We're the two main teachers who are responsible for this facility. So it's kind of our job to do it. And then Eli, who's a former graduate of here, an alumni, he works at OSA also. He comes back and works for us a couple days a week and helps out. And then all of our students, I mean, I can call any of them and be like, hey, I need help, a tank went down, and I would have a dozen kids here tomorrow if I need to.
Very nice.
Which is
like
awesome,
that.
right?
I love that.
You know, they understand that, like, sometimes things happen, and that's just the way it is.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? We appreciate you we appreciate you, period, for being here. Because
Absolutely, yeah.
even this morning, I woke up to get here, and my wife was looking, where are you going? And I half sleep. So just for you doing this with the kids, teaching them, and bringing such an amazing, hobby to the students, we appreciate you for that. Taking the time out from your family to be here doing this and being with us today, and not just today, but overall. Christmas, you were here, like you said, and I don't think my wife would even let me out the house. First of all, so
It's after everybody goes to bed, or before everybody gets up in the morning. It's
like, my wife would be like, well, where the heck do you think you're going? Oh, I gotta feed the fish. What? My fish is downstairs, and there's times when I have problems going down there. My wife's like, not yet.
Fish don't think they need
Exactly.
It's my wife's birthday, and she got up this morning, and I said, I got a date and everything, and then I got to examine in school. And she was like, okay, go. You know what I mean? Yeah, go. And
They do understand.
They do understand.
They do.
Like, we can't do this. We can't do it without support.
My wife was saying, like, we got two young kids at home, and she knows, but she ain't happy about it, right? But she knows, like, this, unfortunately, is part of it, and, like, I do what I can, so, like, we switch off so that I have some days and I take days off, and Mike comes in, and vice versa. Like, we have a work-life balance, which is important, but, we had an issue last week where they had to work on the AC unit. We had no AC for 4 days. And it was like, all my temperature started climbing. It's like, I was here for hours for the whole week. It was like, we had portable units. It was like, things happen. You can never predict what's going to happen today, tomorrow, right? So everything was amazing now, and I'm happy, but tomorrow could be another perfect day, or you have to prepare for that.
All right, Aziz, we're going to wrap up really quick so that he can get home
But we want to thank you. We
Yeah, thank you so
appreciate
much.
you just for taking your
Yeah,
time
thanks.
to be with us today. And again, guys, if you want to get in touch with the school,
Yeah, MSMHS Hop Culture. We'll put a link in the video so you can see it.
Aziz will put the link in the
will
video.
do that. Okay, I'll send you the Instagram and feel free to reach out, talk to your stores, find us at shows. Please stop by and say hi.
Oh, we'll definitely be talking to our store.
yeah.
You know, we have several stores that we do go to.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, does Donnie, you know Donnie?
Yeah, my bet's mine. Yep.
So see, he's already in
Yeah.
one of our stores.
Yep.
And we'll talk to the others and let them know, like, this is where you guys got to come.
Awesome.
But we want to just thank you again. We really appreciate you taking the time out today.
Absolutely.
All right? So guys, catch you on the next one.
Take care.
Yeah, all right.